So the kit is installed here in the trunk. Here's the controller, the pump, and obviously the tank. Now, it looks like they've got it all wired up in here, or at least they started. Definitely gonna have to clean some of this up because like this wire here for the pump, if you follow it around, is literally just wrapped around the pump. So yeah, I'm gonna clean that up for him. And then we have to verify that the routing of the wires for the methanol to get to the front is good. And then also methanol controller here has this vacuum hose on it so we can tell what the boost is. And then you can set on here what the start PSI to start injecting the methanol is, and then at what PSI to go full send on it. And so we need to make sure that not only this vacuum hose is routed correctly towards the front so it can read the boost, but also that the line for the methanol is also routed correctly. It looks like on the vacuum side, I put the vacuum hose through this hole here. And then on this side, looks like they ran it from the pump up. And then looks like they made a hole here. So now we'll lift the car up and see if we can see those lines and see if they're routed to the front correctly. All right, so here we are underneath the car. This might be kind of hard to see, but there is one hole, the line coming through, and over here, look through right through there, there's the second hole we saw in the trunk from above. So if we follow the lines, we go through, if we wiggle them, kind of see if they're going right there, coming up and over, and then zip tie around to right here, and then come down, go up under this cover, all the way down the length of the car, and they come right here between the subframe and the body, and then go up towards the charge pipes. All right, so under the hood here are the lines we saw coming up between the body and the subframe from below. And they come up here and go over, tee off, and then go to both charge pipes. So one line should be for injecting the methanol water mixture, and the other one should be for reading boost. So this one should be the jet, and this should be to read the boost. I would like to pull the jets out so we know exactly what we have as far as a 250cc, 500, and 1000 cc options. And then we'd also like to know whether it's a V1, V2, or V3 nozzle. Apparently AEM has came out with a few different iterations of nozzles, and it would just be nice to know what's in there. I mean, we can get it operational without knowing that information, kind of like with port injection. You can tune it without knowing the CC of injectors, but knowing the CCs definitely helps. All right, so here we are at the back of the car. There's some light. Like I said, we need to clean up the wiring. This harness here for the methanol controller. Yeah, overall make this look cleaner, have it not be stuck under there. Kind of wish we would have started the kit from zero, but at least most of the work is already done. And we'll get some power to this and see if it sprays. Now the pump can come out so we can clean up some of this wiring. All right, so we tucked all the wires here. We tucked some factory wires over in this corner, and then all the wires that were underneath the pump and everything, we have got under here, and a wire protector like that. And then we extended the wires that power the module and put them in a little sheath right there. Goes all the way around, goes to ground, and then goes to power. And then the wire for here, or that was going right here up to do that LED, is all tucked back inside here and then through to the rear seat. So Looks quite a bit cleaner now. Now to move to the engine. All right, so here we are back under the hood. Like I was saying earlier, here's the jets. Here's the hose that goes back to the methanol controller and monitors the boost and knows when to turn it on and off and how much to put in. This is the V2 kit from AEM. So the silver piece here on the end tells how much flow it's gonna have. You can have 250 cc, 500 or 1000 cc. The V3s have a white piece that goes inside here that's plastic. That has a few different identifiable markings on it so you know what cc you have. In our situation where we don't have any of the extra jets and we didn't install these, we can assume kind of that it has the medium one in there that came with the kit from AEM, but we don't know that. So we're just gonna have to go off the tuning and see how it responds. But first, we're gonna pull these out so we can test the pump, make sure that we're actually getting methanol or any type of fluid up to the front here. Hey, the methanol controller here has a button you can push to test. But first we're gonna put some water in the tank and hopefully we'll push the test button and the pump will work. Let's find out. For the yellow switch 12 volt that arms the controller, we used fuse 147 back here. There is the AEM fuse holder. It comes down and then connects to the yellow wire there. That fuse is for additional 12 volt. And then like I said, it's switched, so turn the ignition off, it goes to sleep and the module doesn't get power. On top of that, we can just put this little cover back in and you won't even tell it's there. And now that we have it all hooked up, verified all the powers are good, and the grounds, we can come up here and test it out by pushing the test button for 3 seconds on the controller. And we have flow. Now it's time for the fun part. Tuning it. For tuning for the methanol kit, we'll be using Boot Mod 3. So Boot Mod 3 is a program we use to tune most of the F chassis cars that we work on. E chassis stuff, N54s, N55s, we'll use MHD, but for S63s, B58s, S55s, we use Boot Mod 3. And HTE Performance Tuning does the actual tuning of the fuel tables and the timing and all of that. Any of you that are gonna have a shop do the tuning for you, make sure you get your licenses and the password and everything for it. So if you're in a situation like this, you have the licenses for it. During testing, we noticed there's a little bit of a leak. And further examination, found that the original people that started to install this put these zip ties on to keep the lines together, but put them on there pretty tight. As you can see, they're at an angle. It's leaking out of both sides, so got to fix that before we put methanol in there. That's not good. So we swapped the lines around, and then this side stopped leaking. This side still does. So we aren't 100% sure if this fitting here came from AEM, but you know that they do provide a T-fitting if you get the extra nozzle kit for running 2 banks. But I went to a local fluid supply store and got an upgraded fitting and upgraded line here to do compression fittings, but they also leak. And this is rated up to 300 PSI. We're only gonna be running 35, so this should do the trick. Just gotta replace these 2 and then maybe see if he wants to do the main line going all the way back. But we'll start with these 2 and see if it leaks. nice and dry. Now we can clean up the lines here and proceed. But yeah, this is why you always test the system, make sure you don't have leaks. Because if we were leaking that much methanol, that would definitely be a problem. Alright guys, so we had HTE performance tuning get in through AnyDesk. Before we do any logs, we're gonna get it warmed up. So when we do some pulls, it's not on a cold engine. And while it's warming up, I'm just gonna show you guys our initial settings on it. Are gonna be 8 and 11 PSI. So it'll be 8 PSI to start and it'll go full at 11 there. Then also, we're gonna be adding some methanol here. Right now we have just water in, so we're gonna do a 50-50 mix of methanol and water. Also, we have the lines slightly zip tied for tuning purposes, so we're not at risk of getting an obstruction or anything or get chewed up. So. So it's all warmed up here. Now we're gonna take the computer. Brian's got a fire extinguisher and some extra water. We're gonna go do some logs. All right, for logging, we're gonna go into M2 here. And then here's our M settings. Pretty much have DSC off and then everything else on Sport Plus. All right, so now we're gonna do a second gear pull up to 7K. See the logs and probably make a few different revisions, adjust the method, etc. But here's the first log. Good. So second gear pull was a little bit too much for the log. It just went instantly from 2K to 7K. So now we're gonna try it in third gear. All right, so we're back at the shop. The first data log went really good. We hit 20 PSI. Wasn't lean rich or had a bunch of timing corrections on it. So HTE is gonna kick it up a notch, probably go up to stage 2. We'll take it back out again. All right, we just got the second iteration of the tune from HTE installed in the car. Should be like a stage 2. We go take it out, get another log. All right, back to the shop here. Just made some adjustments. Got the third iteration of the tune on. So we're gonna get in and go do like a little half pull, just to make sure all of the data values are where they need to be. Some of these twin turbo motors and gas in Nebraska do not go that well together. All right, about to do another pull here. This one's gonna be a second gear still, but it's gonna be from 3K to just like 5, maybe 5,500, just to make sure everything is in spec. Here we go. All right, here we go. And that was that. All right, so on that pull, kind of hard to see with the sun here, but we hit 26 PSI. Might be a little bit much, we'll see. All right, while we're waiting for the next iteration of the tune, I'm gonna go back here and make sure. Yep, we got plenty of methanol. On this car, probably gonna have to hook up the LED that goes from the back there up to the front, so then the owner will know when the tank is low. All right. Wait for the coast to be clear. It'll be time for another one. All right, and that was the second gear pull. That went to about 6K, and we went sideways. So this could definitely use a lot better tires. And we're back at the shop. So we're sending that data log off. We are checking for leaks and monitoring this noise. So that tripping noise you heard just there is mildly concerning. Not sure exactly what noise that is. I haven't really seen the car up till now, so there's things like this, where this piece could be tied to that piece, and also do the whole bracket. The bar doesn't cross, isn't loose. I don't think that's the cause of the noise, but I'm just saying there's things like that going on that we kind of need to address. So we're gonna take the first tune we put on for like the stage 1, slightly modified, go do a pull in third, so hopefully there's not as much wheel spin, we can collect more data, and then come back and see if it's making that noise and try to identify that before going too crazy with the power. And as you guys are learning in this, if you didn't know already, tuning a car isn't very easy or very quick or something like, oh, they're just plugging in their computer and going. There's a reason why the custom tunes cost what they do, and this is part of it. There's a lot of time, a lot of energy and effort that goes into it, on top of a lot of times money, with the software that's involved, the licenses, running into issues like this, and then needing to get those addressed. That usually takes money also, and time. So when you wonder why some of the tuning prices for custom tunes are the way they are compared to an off-the-shelf tune, this is part of that. Off-the-shelf tune, they make one, kind of do a blanket for all the cars should be within this spec, and then send it. Where this is a tune made for this car with its fuel pressure the way that it is, the volume the way that it is, the air the way that it is. Everything is very specific to it. So on top of being able to get more power, it's also a lot safer. Anyway though, let me go grab Brian. We're gonna go do another log. Okay, yeah, that was like 3K to 4K, and we still went sideways heavily. Wow. All right, we're flashing another iteration of the tune on. Third gear was able to give us a little bit more data. Lasted about twice as long, so flash is in progress. The next tune is on. We're gonna change all of our settings back to DSC off, so it's not limiting anything. And then on this log, we're gonna do a 1, 2, 3 shift. Let's see where it's at. Hopefully it doesn't spin quite so much. Yeah, still a lot of spinning. We're gonna have to do something about this. We need more traction. All right, so we're back to the shop here looking at these rear tires. Turns out they're Michelin Pilot Sports 295/50/20. And there's some depth there, but overall it's very smooth. It's Pilot Super Sport. Talked to HTE about it. Those tires have been discontinued for a while. Hopefully because they suck. So we're gonna see if the 166M style wheel off the E60 M5 will fit. And if it doesn't clear the brakes in the rear, because it won't clear the brakes in the front, then we can use the 20-inch Bostons off the Outlaw M5, just so we can get a clean log. So we got the tire off here, and not a good start. All right, so here's the 166M, and the rear caliper is hitting the barrel of the wheel, so this will not work. All right, so we're gonna take the 20-inch Bostons off the Outlaw M5 here, throw them onto the F10. I'm pretty sure I didn't film it, but the Bostons don't fit either. They're 20-inch, but if you look at this F10 wheel, it's 20 there, but then drops down to what I'm guessing is like a 21 or 20 and a half. So, all right, so just got off the phone with the customer. He does not have any spare tires for it, and just wants to run these for now, and then go to a 305. But we'll have to order them in. Here we go with the third gear pull. Let's see. And we're back at the shop. So that was a clean log. Learned quite a bit from it. Took it from 21 PSI, dropped it down to 19 PSI. Definitely not the spiciest tune, but a lot safer. We also noticed that it was consistently holding 19 to 19.7 PSI at 40% duty cycle. So if you look at the cold side of the turbo, right there and there, on stock turbos, to get between 19 and 20 PSI consistently, duty cycle has to be at around 67%. We're only at 40% and able to consistently hold 19 PSI. We noticed earlier that the cold side of the turbo here and there looks pretty shiny compared to the rest of the engine components. This car likely has upgraded turbos also. So front mount intakes, methanol kit, confirmed it does have catless downpipes, and very likely it has upgraded turbos. So even though it's got all this stuff to make the power, it doesn't have all the stuff to hold it safely. The weak point on these cars, besides the transmission, is the rods. Even on the F10 M5, the rods are a weak point on them. So can't crank the boost too much, even though we have everything to do it. The motor, I don't think is gonna be able to handle it, and we'd rather not have to replace it. So you guys saw when we were doing logs and pulls with these wheels and tire combination. Obviously the E60s don't work, even with the 20-inch Bostons there. So we're definitely gonna be doing something about this, because for this iteration of the tune, we're really trying to get it dialed in. We really want it to be as close to the same setup as the owner's gonna have on it when he's out actually using the car. And when you're really trying to dial in a custom tune so that it is as specific to the vehicle as possible, so that it runs as optimal as possible, things like tire compound and grip play a very big role in that. Like you guys saw before when we were doing the logs, if we're slipping and the engine's not under actual load, then we can't really properly tune for the load that's gonna be on the engine, how much fuel it's gonna take, if there needs to be any timing corrections, etc. So changing these bad boys out to 305s. New rubber. We got some Pilot Sport 4s here. They are 305 3020. So this should be much better than what we had on it before. So we're gonna put these on, go do a log. HTE has made another iteration of the tune. Now that we have proper traction and can get accurate numbers without a lot of slipping going on. So I really hope this is the last log we do. S63s are great, they make a lot of power, but from our experience, when we start cranking up the boost and everything on it, the weak point on the F10s being the transmission, but then the rods, F90s, also having an issue with the rods. Really like this not to go bad, so let's see how it goes. Still some slipping. That last one was a little spicy. The PS4s are not enough to hold this F10 M5 down to the ground. So even though that last log had some slipping in it like before, overall it did a lot better. I think we might be done here with the old meth injected F10 M5. Here are just some of the data values that you can see in BootMod 3, and then what HT is going to be adjusting. I mean, he's not going to adjust all these values, you know, but just saying these are this is just a small amount of the stuff you have to consider when you're actually tuning the car, let alone reading this graph. But overall, even with a crazy graph like this, talking to HTE, everything on it is good. I had peak boost on one of them at 21, but right when you do the hit, but the flat on it is 18.5, so it's still pretty conservative. Like I was saying earlier, the low duty cycle on the wastegates is actually kind of nice. Turbos aren't trying as hard. In theory, they're gonna last longer that way. But the main thing on the S63 especially is right here on the timing correction. So there's 4 of the cylinders. We basically per bank, you want to have accumulated total on timing correction to be under 5. And in this case, we're at 0. So very good deal on that, especially because the gas here in Nebraska isn't the greatest for twin turbo V8s such as this one. It's the next day. We're about to take it to the dyno. We just got to get the methanol right on it. Cleaned it up last night, gave it an oil change, but got to refill the tank here. We'll be ready for the dyno. On top of bringing the methanol, we're obviously going to bring the Ethernet cable, laptop charger, fire extinguisher, never know, and then jump box. We're back at the barnyard garage for the dyno. Check engine light turned on the way. All right, so we got ISTA here. A couple modules with airs. The ones in yellow. It's resetting them right now. So after clearing the codes, we still have this top one. I think it's causing a problem. We're back in the car now. We got the road tune on it, and we're gonna do another log just to make sure everything's good on the road. It's pretty impressive what I did at the dyno. 578 is not bad. This engine setup with everything that's been done to it could definitely do over 600. Like I said though, want to keep it on the safe side. These motors, whether it be S63, S63TU, S63M, are all very expensive, and so I think the customer is gonna be very satisfied with this. Only thing we have left to do now is change the plugs out, see what's in it, and then put the 2-step holder in with the proper gap, and this F10 will be ready to go. So I thought it'd be a good change of pace to still be doing M5s, a little bit more modern, a little bit more power, and a little different than the V10s we usually have on the channel. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. I know it's a little bit different than the DIYs or the E60 M5 stuff. So if you guys want to see more stuff like this, definitely let us know in the comments below, and we can make that happen.